Hello, my name is Tony Deering. I'm a journalist who writes an award-winning column on prevention of dementia and successful aging for NJ.com and the Star Ledger newspaper. We are all at risk for dementia, and for Americans over the age of 60, surveys show it's their number one worry. And that concern is not misplaced. Aging is the greatest risk factor for dementia. By the age of 85, our odds of getting Alzheimer's are close to 50%. But some people are at greater risk than others. Family history can increase your risk. So does mild cognitive impairment. People who have been diagnosed with MCI are at risk of that cognitive decline progressing to dementia. If you're one of those people, this site and this pathway to better brain health are dedicated to you. MCI is a distressing diagnosis and by no means an uncommon one. An estimated 15 to 20% of people over the age of 65 have some degree of mild cognitive impairment. There are currently more than 46 million Americans over the age of 65, and every day in this country, another 10,000 people turn 65, a demographic tidal wave that will continue for the next 18 years. That means that there are roughly anywhere from 7 million to 9 million Americans with MCI, and that number will continue to grow every day for the next 2 decades. And yet, despite the size and severity of this threat, there is surprisingly little in the way of support, resources, or programs out there for people with MCI. Someone who's diagnosed with MCI is doing well if they're told anything more than, well, let's wait and see if it gets worse. Recently, I spoke with University of Pittsburgh neurologist Dr. Oscar Lopez, a leading expert on MCI. He said very bluntly, when a doctor tells you you have mild cognitive impairment, they say, go home, stay busy, come back in a year. That happens 99.9% of the time. If you have been diagnosed with MCI, you deserve better. There's still so much we don't know about the brain and mild cognitive impairment and dementia. But when it comes to risk factors and healthy behaviors that can reduce our risk, we actually know a lot. If you educate yourself, learn what contributes to cognitive decline and what can help delay it, you can potentially slow the decline of your mind, extend the quality of your life, and perhaps even increase it. That's the goal of this site and the pathway, to share with you solid, science-based information on how to improve brain health and protect cognition. A diagnosis of MCI can be scary and stressful and isolating, but there is hope and there is help. First of all, mild cognitive impairment does not mean with certainty that dementia is coming to claim your mind. According to the book, Living with Mild Cognitive Impairment, some studies have found that up to 40% of individuals who initially meet the criteria for MCI return to normal within a year. Some memory problems can look like dementia, but are caused by other treatable conditions. If that's the case, it's possible that the cause can be identified and addressed, and your memory can return to normal for your age. Beyond that, some people with MCI, even if their memory doesn't improve, it doesn't worsen either. They learn to cope and their memory doesn't decline further. And even in cases where MCI is, in essence, a pre-Alzheimer's condition, there is still the potential to postpone that progression. Whatever your situation, you want to give yourself every chance to slow that cognitive decline for as long as possible. And that is a realistic hope. As the Dana Foundation's 4 pillars of Alzheimer's prevention assure us, here is some good news. Whether you want to reverse cognitive deficits now or avoid them later, more and more studies are suggesting that there is much you can do to keep your mind sharp. While a pharmaceutical approach to preventing Alzheimer's disease has proven elusive, practical lifestyle choices to reduce Alzheimer's are based on good science and good sense. Research in a variety of areas has confirmed that sensible, everyday choices can significantly reduce the risk. I recently spoke with Dr. Richard Isaacson, head of the Alzheimer's Prevention Clinic at Weill Cornell Medicine in New York. He says not that long ago, it was considered heresy to use the words Alzheimer's and prevention in the same sentence. But he insists it is now possible to prevent or delay the onset of Alzheimer's through brain-healthy choices in lifestyle and diet. Here's how Medscape recently described him. Faced with minimally effective treatments at best and a recent trail of disappointing drug trials, Isaacson is among a growing cadre of doctors turning to lifestyle interventions to prevent or slow the onset of Alzheimer's disease. Whether you are dealing with MCI or dementia, right now, that's the reality of care options. Medically speaking, there's not a lot they can do for you. There has not been a new medical treatment approved for Alzheimer's or MCI since 2003, and the drugs we do have available can only treat some of the symptoms and only for a while. Is it any wonder that some of the top Alzheimer's doctors in America are turning instead to lifestyle and diet to fight cognitive decline? Especially since the evidence shows it works. A big breakthrough came in 2015 with results of what's called the FINGER study. This study, which followed more than 2,600 adults between the ages of 60 and 77 for a period of 2 years. It found a program of brain-friendly eating, exercise, cognitive training, and monitoring of vascular conditions helped to either improve or maintain cognitive functioning in people who were otherwise at risk for Alzheimer's. Preliminary results from another study called the MAPT trial found that combining exercise and cognitive training with supplementation of omega-3 fatty acids over a period of 3 years also improved cognition. Those are the kind of dramatic results that have experts saying prevention has to be a big part of the answer. As Dr. Isaacson recently told me, everyone is looking for the blockbuster drug, but we also need dietary changes and exercise and changes in lifestyle. We need to hit this disease from every single angle. If we can do these very low-risk, evidence-based lifestyle changes and incorporate them into our life, I think that makes a ton of sense. The pathway you are about to embark on will show you the lifestyle choices that are most strongly associated with better brain health. It includes 5 lessons, each one of them addressing one of the pillars of brain healthy living. They include heart health, exercise, diet, sleep, and cognitive and social stimulation. As you go through them, you're welcome to take notes, but you don't have to. I've created a worksheet you can use to score yourself on each risk factor. You can find it at the bottom of any lesson. Just click there to download the worksheet or print it out. Each lesson includes a set of fast facts you can keep and review. Again, you'll find them at the end of the lesson. Accompanying each lesson, you'll also find a list of resources you can turn to for more information. Please remember, always consult your doctor before making changes that can affect your health. This site is educational and does not offer medical advice. It presents information on lifestyle choices that have been shown to benefit cognition. I hope you find this information helpful, but don't be overwhelmed by it. You don't have to make a bunch of changes all at once. You would never succeed at that even if you tried. When it comes to improving health behaviors, real change comes a bit at a time. Just pick one or two things and do a little better with them. Maybe it's drinking a green smoothie every day, or going for a walk in the morning, or doing brain training exercises on the computer. After a couple of months, these become habits, and then you can look to take on another improvement or two. The secret is little changes that add up over time. As the Dana Foundation tells us, small, easily achieved shifts in one's daily routine can make all the difference in brain health. If everybody made such shifts, it is likely that the widespread prediction of a continuing Alzheimer's epidemic would shift too, with fewer reported cases. That ultimately is your goal, to be one fewer case of dementia. That is what you want to work toward, and it is possible. So when you're ready, let's get started. I invite you to begin Lesson 1, which you can access by clicking on the link below. Until then, please be kind to your mind.